Hi everyone. Thank you for joining today and welcome to this episode of the Bridge the Gap series. So I'm Suki from Global Bridge and it's tomorrow's Engineers Week, which aims to shine a light on careers in engineering and celebrate some of the amazing engineers and the work they're doing. So to celebrate, I'm joined by 4 apprentice engineers from Siemens. How about we go around and say a little intro to each of us and explain our roles very briefly?
Hi there. So my name's Dan. I'm a degree tech apprentice. Been at Siemens now for 4 years. So I've been in. So basically, my apprenticeship journey has been a bit different to other people. So at the moment, I'm based in Manchester. Currently based in tech support, which basically means that I'm learning. I'm in a customer-facing role, which is really interesting. Learning how products work, learning how customers use the products that we sell, which has been very interesting. But before that, I was actually based in Berlin. So I spent 3.5 years in Berlin doing an apprenticeship over there. So there we learned German. We basically learned more practical skills. So we learned how to use machine tools. We learned how to wire, learn how to do a lot of tasks with our hands. Really gained a really good practical knowledge, which was really helpful in my opinion. I like one of the reasons I like engineering is that when you do something, you get to see it working. Hopefully if it all works, but you get to see it and you can use your hands. You can see how it works, and that's what I really like about it. But yeah, so I did that for 3.5 years, and now that I've come back now, been in the UK for the last 7-8 months. And on to finishing my degree now, basically. So that's a little introduction to myself.
That sounds really exciting so far. Matthew, could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Matthew. I'm an engineering degree apprentice, and I came straight out of school and joined this last year in August. So I'm in my 2nd year of the apprenticeship. The course I'm on doesn't do any of what Dan's done. I'm not going to Germany. I'm not learning anything interesting like German fully. But our course, we end up with a degree in control and automation and come out with a lot of practical skills and experience. So it's going to be a good experience as well.
Cool, thank you. And Ben, could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Ben, and I'm doing the same course as Matt. So same as Matt. I left 6th form. Not this summer, but the summer before, and now I'm starting my 2nd year of my apprenticeship. So me and Matt, for our 1st year, we spent full-time at college, and then now in our 2nd years, we've finished college full-time, and we now go on block release instead for 2 weeks throughout the year. And in our other time, we're in the workplace doing 3-month placements. So we're just about to finish our 1st one right now. We are.
And Ola, could you introduce yourself as well, please?
Hi everyone, my name's Ola. So I'm a sales engineer, degree apprentice. So my scheme's a bit different to theirs again. So I do a 4-day working week and 1 day I'm based with Middlesex University, where I'm completing a BCS in business to business sales. So my role is basically like bridging the gap between like expertise and then the customer side.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. So on to the next question. What sparked your interest in engineering? Anyone can take this and you can sort of go around if you like.
I'll take it first, yeah. So I'd probably say I didn't really have much interest in like engineering. I knew specifically when I was at school, I always enjoyed like taking stuff apart and rebuilding it and stuff like that and problem solving skills, but I never like realised engineering was what I wanted to go into until I was choosing my A-level subjects. And I realised my favourite subjects were probably maths and physics, which sort of tailor in towards an engineering route. And then once I was in 6th form and I realised I enjoyed those subjects, I started looking into engineering and realising all the different forms and types there of engineering you can go into. And then I saw at this apprenticeship and we are on an automation engineering course. So something I wouldn't have pictured at all when I was in secondary school, but now I'm doing it. I'm more than happy.
For me, I've always been interested in it because my dad was an engineer as well, so I sort of inherited some of it from him. And because I always enjoyed it, it made sense that I sort of would end up here. But then I didn't know exactly where I'd want to go. Like I had ideas, I wanted to do something like mechatronics, but I wasn't sure where or who with. And then I saw this and took this. So slightly different start, but similar ending.
Yeah. And like Ben, were you sort of had that core interest of knowing how things work, you know, taking things apart, putting things back together. Is that kind of how engineering manifests itself at a really young age, do you think?
Yeah, there's just something about being able to see something that you've either disassembled and then put back together or just made, and you can see it moving and how it's working and look at it and think, I've been involved in getting this to work.
I think mine's a bit different because I'm obviously, my interest to the rest of these guys will be like quite different because I'm not an actual engineer. I think more for me it was like the industry and like using the actual technology that these create and like the impact they can have on people.
I think I'm pretty similar to Ben and Matthew in the sense that, well, my dad was also an engineer for a time. He's no longer an engineer, but he was. And then I was also really into maths and physics. I love maths. And so, and I always like the problem solving aspect of things. Like I used to enjoy that. And I find it very rewarding even now with engineering because it's challenging. But when you get it working, there is a really amazing feeling that you get from that. I've had, you know, like really good experiences with that. But also with mine, for example, the reason why I want to do the Berlin apprenticeship is because I really love languages. So with engineering, you can go into so many different areas and go into so many different places as well. You know, can take you to many different. I wouldn't have expected when I was, you know, 15, 16 to ever live in Berlin. But I love to learn languages as well as like solving problems. So, for example, the Berlin apprenticeship really worked well for me. So that's why, for example, I applied for it. You know, and that was one of the reasons why I initially got into it, was basically just like a combination of the apprenticeship, how it really suited well for me, and yeah, basically. And learning, and also especially for me with the apprenticeship, I learned the practical skills. You know, building something, seeing how it works. Breaking things down, stuff like that.
I can imagine there's a lot of people watching that can relate to those core interests, you know, and it's interesting to hear the option to be able to take this abroad as well and to be able to learn a new language and the doors that engineering can open for you.
Definitely. You don't always expect it to come, like the skills that you get from being an engineer, you know, you can go to so many different areas and you don't realize the skills that you maybe have, which you wouldn't have thought you would need in your job. You know, that can then translate into engineering, you know, and where it can take you, you know.
Yeah, really good point. So on to the next question. I think we covered this a little bit, but what was each of your routes into the role that you're in now?
So initially when I was at sixth form, I was looking first at going to university. So I went secondary school, went sixth form, and I chose maths, physics and history to study as my subjects. And I just didn't really have a clue what I wanted to do when I was going to sixth form. So I chose history as well to keep my options open. And I was looking at going towards university and doing a general engineering course because I wanted to do engineering, but still there's so much in engineering I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I found this apprenticeship and I wanted to do an apprenticeship instead. And it's to do with automation and control and etc. And that's just sort of how I've found myself into this sort of role. We don't attend university like the normal route, but we still get the opportunity to go to university on our 4th year of our apprenticeship as well though.
And then for me it's fairly similar. So I studied maths, physics and computer science at A level, and I also was originally thinking of going to uni. I wanted to go into engineering, but I wasn't fully sure what area. So I ended up looking at an area called mechatronics, which is a fairly new field that focuses on somewhat similar topics. And I was also looking at apprenticeships, a few at the time, and I saw this one and applied for it. And then a while later, I got a call saying, we'd be interested in hearing from you. And then from there, it's just got to here.
It's interesting to hear that you're both weighing up university versus apprenticeships. How have you found apprenticeships so far?
No, yeah, I found it great. So a lot of my friends have taken the university route and some of them have taken apprenticeships. And I feel like no matter what you do, there's still a lot of enjoyment in no matter what like course you take. All my friends that are at university, they're really enjoying it. And when they say apprenticeship, they're really enjoying it. So it really depends on the person. But I feel like for me with the apprenticeship, the practical and the hands-on experience we get with the equipment that Siemens has is pretty much invaluable if you're working at university. So we have access to controllers and this equipment that you'd be looking at using in coding, but we have all first-hand experience delivered by Siemens and a partner.
And just to build on that, so like at uni, yes, we'd probably use some of the same equipment, but we probably wouldn't get the same amount of exposure and time to sometimes even just play with it, learn how to use it, learn what we should be doing with it, what's the correct way to use it. And of course, because it's an apprenticeship, yes, we're learning, but we're also getting all that work experience in various areas of the business as we move around the business. So it's got a bit of the uni, but also it's got a lot of the work focus, which is good.
Yeah, and I think as well, like one of the great things about apprenticeships is it's all relevant to industry. You know, you're learning what industry needs, you know, and you're learning, and when you finish your apprenticeship, you're ready to go into a role straight. You're integrated into the company. You know the company. You know the skills that they're looking for. You're transferable to other industries as well. You know, that is something which is very valuable in my opinion. You know, it's not just like about you know, we also have the theory, but we can also use stuff with our hands and have industrial experience and see what customers straight away are wanting, you know, which I definitely notice for me, especially when I was choosing the apprenticeships, something that I thought is really good.
I think for me it was like a side of personal development as well as academic development, and then obviously the fact that you have no uni fees at the end while you're getting a paid wage each year is obviously like a massive benefit.
So it sounds like apprenticeships are kind of more hands-on industry experience that maybe you wouldn't get if you were going down the traditional university route.